All right, ready to dive deep into The Real Slim Shady,
Oh, absolutely. This one's a classic.
one of the most iconic tracks from the early 2000s by, of course, Eminem. The
Mm.
lyrics, the production, the whole backstory, even going way back to some of the reactions when it first dropped.
It'll be interesting to see how this song holds up after all these years.
So should we break it down?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first. The origin story behind The Real Slim Shady is pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So get this. It wasn't even supposed to be on the Marshall Mathers LP.
Really?
Yeah, it was a total last-minute thing. Eminem, Dr. Dre, they all threw this together just hours before the album deadline.
Oh, wow. I bet Interscope was freaking out a little.
Right. They wanted a killer opening track, and I guess Who Knew, which was the original plan, wasn't really cutting it.
It's crazy to think how different things could have been if they stuck with Who Knew.
It really is. I mean, hey, maybe that pressure is what created this masterpiece.
You know what? There's something to be said about working under pressure.
The Real Slim Shady, I mean, just exploding onto the scene the way it did. Genius.
You're a genius. And that opening line, "Will the real Slim Shady please stand up?" Instant classic.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing that the first time and thinking, hold on, what? Catchy and so provocative.
Yeah, it's not just catchy, though. It's smart. I mean, it's a straight-up reference to that old game show, To Tell the Truth, you know? And that sets up this whole question of, like, what's real, what's fake?
Yeah, he's playing with us right from the very first line.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so brilliant, you know? Making us question everything, even when it comes to him.
Okay, let's get into some of these lyrics because, honestly, there are too many gems to ignore.
I don't even know where to begin.
Let's start with that verse where he talks about Tom Green humping a dead moose on TV.
Oh, yeah, that one. Hilarious, but it's got an edge to it.
He contrasts that with the way his music was getting censored. It's like
Yeah.
he's saying, hey, if Tom Green can do that on MTV, why are you so worried about what I'm saying?
Exactly. He's calling out hypocrisy, double standards. It's satire at its best,
Yep.
right? You use humor to deliver this really sharp social commentary.
And he does it again when he goes after Will Smith.
Well, yeah.
Will Smith don't got to cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do, so F him and F you too.
Okay, now hold on. I don't know if I agree with him on that one. Just because Will Smith chose to do things differently doesn't mean he deserves that.
I hear you, but isn't that kind of part of his persona, you know?
Hmm.
Eminem, he's provocative on purpose, pushing buttons.
I guess, but there's a difference between being provocative and disrespectful. I think that line might cross it.
Yeah, maybe, but it's definitely memorable. Gets you thinking.
No question about it. You can't deny the impact of his words.
That impact, right. Those jabs at pop stars like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, those weren't just random, were they?
No, absolutely not. This was him taking on the whole manufactured pop scene.
He saw these artists as products being sold, not for their talent, but for their image.
And it hit home for a lot of people, you know? He was speaking for a whole generation, the ones tired of the manufactured pop that was everywhere.
So he's using these crazy lyrics, these feuds even, to get us thinking about something bigger.
Yeah, that's it. You're laughing 1 minute and you're like, hold on, he's got a point.
That's some next level genius, right?
Absolutely.
I need a minute to process this. We've got so much more to talk about. We have to get into all the controversy when this song dropped.
Oh, yeah. The lawsuit from his own mother.
We'll get into that right after this.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We were just getting into how Eminem really took on the whole manufactured pop scene in The Real Slim Shady.
And not holding back, going after Will Smith.
Right, even though, like I said, I'm not so sure about that line.
Yeah, fair point. But that's Eminem, always pushing the limits.
Definitely. But let's dig a little deeper into the lyrics now. Do you remember that line he keeps repeating? I'm Slim Shady? Yes, I'm the real Shady.
Oh, yeah, that always stuck with me. It's almost like, is he trying to convince himself? Right, like at first it sounds like he's just bragging, but Eminem's all about those double meanings, that wordplay.
So what's he really saying there?
I think he's messing with us, with the persona he created, like making us ask, is Slim Shady just a character, or is it a part of him, a real part?
So he's not just saying he's the real deal. It's like he's making us question what's real at all.
Exactly. It all ties into the whole theme of identity in the song, you know? It's like he's exploring the different sides of himself, the masks we wear, how we show ourselves to the world.
Man, that's deep. Never thought of it like that.
It's easy to get caught up in the shock value on the surface, but there's always something more going on beneath.
Like when he says, I'm like a head trip to listen to because I'm only giving you things you joke about with your friends inside your living room.
Oh, that's a good one. Basically calling out the listener right there. Like, you might be shocked by what I'm saying, but this is the stuff you're already thinking about.
Not that he's saying these things are okay, more like he's making us look at the dark stuff, the messed up stuff.
Exactly. But by putting it out there as entertainment, he can say things nobody else can.
It's like he's using humor and satire to say something important about our culture.
Yeah, a risky move, but definitely works. You're laughing, but then it hits you.
Okay, so we've talked lyrics, the deeper meaning, but we can't forget about all the controversy around the real Slim Shady, right?
Right.
I mean, his own mom sued him over this song.
She did, yeah. Debbie Mathers claimed he was defaming her character, making her look bad. And it wasn't just her. This song kicked up so much debate. Misogyny, homophobia, violence, the whole 9 yards.
It felt like everyone had something to say,
Yeah,
and it probably just made him more famous.
absolutely. Controversy like that can destroy you or make you a star. And for Eminem, definitely made him a star. He became this rebel, this voice for people who felt like they didn't have one.
And even with all the backlash, the real Slim Shady won awards left and right, topped the charts, a Grammy.
It shows you the impact it had. People were angry, but they couldn't deny how powerful it was.
So we've got this song, controversial, winning awards, selling like crazy, pushing boundaries. How do we even begin to understand its impact?
Well, for one, it changed hip-hop. Eminem showed you could be huge, make tons of money, and still be real authentic and say what you wanted.
Yeah, paved the way for artists who weren't afraid to speak their minds, even if it pissed people off.
And on top of that, he created some of the most memorable, quotable lyrics in hip-hop.
The real Slim Shady isn't just a song, it's like a cultural moment. Started so many conversations, challenged so many ideas.
It proves that music can be more than just fun. It can make us think, it can make us talk, it can even change things.
Absolutely. And the music video? Don't even get me started. Total chaos, but genius chaos.
Oh yeah, that music video deserves its own deep dive.
We are out of time for today, but we're not done with the real Slim Shady.
Stay with us. We'll be back to wrap things up after the break.
Man, I am still thinking about everything we've talked about with the real Slim Shady.
It's a lot, right? So many layers to peel back.
Before we go, what's the one thing that really stood out to you from all of this?
You know what gets me is how Eminem managed to be this massive pop star and this super sharp critic at the same time.
Yeah, it's like he cracked the code. How to make people think while making music that everyone loves.
Exactly, and that's not easy.
And I think that's why this song has lasted. It's more than a good beat. It's like a time capsule. People are still talking about it, still arguing about it.
It shows you that music can be more than just sounds, right? It can make a real difference.
Well said. Okay, it's time to wrap this up. But first, I have one last question for everyone listening.
Okay, lay it on us.
Do you think all that controversy around Eminem's music actually helped his career? Or did it hurt him? And what about his style? That satire. How has that held up over the years?
Those are the questions to ask. All right, let us know what you think in the comments.
And hey, as always, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You can find our sponsor in the description below, so go check them out. Thanks.